Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri, and today we're going to do a honest customer review on the Subaru Ascent. Just full disclosure, I'm a big Subaru guy. I have 3 Subarus now. I was raised in a American-made car family, but I'm a big Subaru fan. And let's just dive on in here and talk about why I bought the 2019 Subaru Ascent, and also talk about why I didn't buy a different car, and also point out a few things I don't like about the Ascent. So first off here, I wanted to buy an SUV for the sole purpose of being able to tow something more than like 1,500 pounds, hopefully something like 3,000 pounds or more. I do a lot of gardening, a lot of yard work. I just buy a lot of large things, furniture and stuff, and I need to be able to tow a lot of weight. That being said, other SUVs at similar starting points did not have that towing capacity. And I know you can look at other models. If you look at, for example, the Toyota Highlander, which I was considering, it can tow between 1,500 and 5,000 pounds. The issue with that being you have to upgrade the engine size, which increases the price, so that you can tow the equivalent of the Subaru Ascent premium version. So I do have the premium version, not the base. I had the towing package added. The Ascent will tow 5,000 pounds. The Highlander, for example, will tow 1,500 starting, whereas the base Ascent has 2,000 pounds. The other reason I bought the Ascent is the fact that I wanted a family car, something functional that I could put, kids, family members, visiting guests inside of and be able to drive them around. It's one of the reasons I did not buy a pickup truck, which is huge here in Dallas, Texas, but I did not want to be one of those guys. So I ended up going with the Ascent for basically the reason of the price was good, the towing capacity was great, it can tow a lot of people, which is awesome for the needs I have as a kind of a family guy. And just to top it all off here, being a Subaru guy, I figured it'd be easier for me to actually maintain and work on the Subaru Ascent on my own. That being said, the engine bay is actually quite large compared to the size of the motor in the Subaru Ascent. It's only a 2.4 4-liter, the horizontal design, the boxer engine style that all Subarus have. One interesting thing to note is that the oil filter is actually upside down on top of the engine instead of on the bottom of the engine like most of their cars. So things I absolutely love about the car is it drives really well, it handles really well. I've seen people complain that, it's not as nimble as, like a WRX, or it's not as nimble as, a Mazda Miata. The comments are pretty ridiculous, right? This is an SUV, it holds 8 passengers, but it's an SUV. It's going to handle like an SUV. The acceleration I was a little nervous on. It's a CVT transmission, but it's fairly smooth for most of the time. I had like once or twice kind of like a weird feeling, but when you hit the pedal, the car really goes, given that it has that turbo that kicks in. And that leads me kind of to the interior here. The interior, though it's 8 passengers, as I mentioned, the driver's very, very comfortable, tons of space. I'm not a very big guy, I come in at 5'5". So for me, it feels a little too roomy, but in general, I have no complaints about that. It's just a little extra space, no big deal. The second row seats, though, have a lot of space. Like, I'm thinking in the back of my head, a buddy of mine, he is 6'8". He could easily fit in the second row of my vehicle, which is awesome. That being said, the third row is really, really small. If you have children, yes, they could fit back there. It seems claustrophobic. But if you actually scoot that second row up, you will have plenty of space in the third row for an average size adult. Again, if you're looking like above, 5'10", it's going to be cramped. But again, it's a 3-row SUV. I can't expect a lot of room in the very back. I did get the seat covers for all the 2 rows in the back that have the rubber. These are amazing and awesome. I have already thrown in bags of mulch, bags of sand, concrete bags, I believe, and a bunch of other trash, but this thing cleans out really well. And then just the overall design. I like the way the car looks. I love the color I got. I have a blue one. It has the little fin spoiler kind of on the back glass, which I really do like. Overall, I think the design's good. It comes with the rails on the top. It handles well. I couldn't be happier in that sense. And just to point one more thing out that I absolutely love, I had the window shades added to the premium version. They can just slide up and slide down. It's great if you have kids, like in car seats. You don't have to buy those tacky like sunscreens with like the rubber suction cups on them that you have to like stick to the window. So I think having these is a great investment, and I don't believe they're very expensive. But anyways, let's dive on in here to what I don't like about the car. So the number one thing I think that I don't like about the car is the speedometer. So this is going to sound weird complaint here, but it has a digital speedometer in the middle of the dash that says you're going, say, 60, 65 miles an hour, and yet the little needle that you normally would have in an actual car, it says it's going like 68, 69. And I know this isn't going to bug a lot of people, but for me it drives me nuts because I'm not used to having a new car with all the electronics and the bells and whistles and everything. My newest car besides this one's a 2005 Legacy, so I don't have all the bells and whistles. But when you're like on the phone call, the digital screen goes away. You can't see that you're going 65. It just shows that you're going faster than that somehow. So that drives me nuts. The other thing that kind of bugs me is that the cup holders in the car are just way too freaking big. They're just too big to fit a normal size cup. I don't know who's driving this car. Again, the seats are massively wide, which isn't the biggest deal to me. But at the end of the day, it's built for someone who's big. Who's drinking a cup that's like a 64-ounce cup to fit in that cup holder? I have no clue. But that kind of leads me on to the Ford Explorer here. So I went to Maui for a week, and I had a Ford Explorer XLT. One thing I liked about that car was the cup holders. They had these little plastic pieces that were like spring-loaded in the bottom of the cup holder, so the cup holder would adjust to the size of your cup. That would be a huge upgrade in the Subaru Ascent. I know Subaru has a bad reputation for terrible interior design. This, I think, would improve the car quite a bit. Yes, it has 19 cup holders, which I don't know why they're bragging about. Who really cares about 19 cup holders? But Subaru, fix your interiors. The rest of the car, though, is pretty good. I did not get leather. I got the fabric. It's held up fairly well so far. I do like the interior design as well. The touchscreen on the Subaru Ascent, I got used to it. And then when I actually test drove that Explorer in Maui, their screen is itty bitty. Like, you have this backup camera, which is absolutely no use in the Explorer because you can't even see anything in it. So I do give thumbs up to the Ascent here on the size of the screen. And then just to kind of round out the things I didn't like about that Explorer is that it's about the same price as the Subaru Ascent. But when I drove it, it was a brand new car, had about the same mileage, a little bit less on it, about, I don't know, 1,800 to 2,000 miles on it, where my Ascent now has, I don't know, 3,000 miles almost. And that being said, that Explorer creaked. Like, the frame of the car creaked as it drove. The seats and everything looked like they were just like haphazardly, like bolted to the floor. There's not any nice like carpeting or anything to like hide how the seats are mounted and put in. And the number one complaint I had besides that tiny camera in that car was the leg space when you're driving. So again, I'm not a very big guy, but where the gas pedal and the brake pedal were, literally like 2-3 inches from the edge of the brake pedal was like the edge of the car, I don't know what to say, the steel or whatever. And there's no space for you to really rest your foot. So I felt like crammed trying to drive this, and I'm not very big. So the Ford Explorer, the creaking frame, the weird cheaply designed car, like it just seemed cheap in general. It didn't really drive real well. And then to top it all off, this tiny itty bitty bay in here was not my favorite car, and I'm actually really happy I did not go with the Explorer on this. And then to kind of wrap out this review here on why I like the Ascent in general, it has fairly good gas mileage. You're going to be coming in probably around 22, 23-ish. I drive a lot of highway miles. I'm not getting anywhere near what they tell you, which is like 27 or 28 miles per gallon. But I have towed a trailer with about 2,000 pounds of sand in it, so probably around 3,000 pounds of towing. The car handled really, really well. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great experience. You know, I haven't driven an SUV in quite some time, but the car did handle very well in braking and in accelerating in a smooth fashion. So I know a lot of critics are going to be pointing out that it has a CVT transmission, and that might not make it as good at shifting or as smooth of a ride. But overall, I've been really happy with this car. Again, I'm not a tech guy, so having all these like little lights flashing at you about being out of your lane and stuff, I didn't know this, but you can just turn them all off. I've actually gotten used to them and kind of enjoy them now, as it's kind of like a small reminder of how the car functions and where you're at in the space for driving in your lane. So anyways, that's my honest review here of the Subaru Ascent 2019 Premium Edition. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until next time.